Right, we're talking Wayne Rooney, this guy. Last week, Sam was quite outspoken about not wanting him to stay. If you haven't watched that video, you can watch it now. But this week, we thought we'll readdress the balance. We've got a Manchester United expert, Justin Mottershead from Red Flag Flying High, and he's going to tell us the reasons why he thinks Rooney should stay.
Yeah, Justin, thank you very much for joining us. Just before you give us your 5 reasons why you think Rooney should stay, what I was sort of saying last week is that basically he's 27, he can't stay fit, doesn't want to be here. It's the second time we've had this issue. We've got other players that are happy to work hard. We can use the money from him to buy another player who wants to work for the United cause. And that sort of sums up my feelings, really, is he worth the trouble? Probably not. What do you reckon? 5 reasons why you think he should stay.
Well, for starters, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Rooney's been a big part of our success over the past 9 years. David Moyes has come in as a new manager. Does he really need to start changing things and getting rid of one of our star performers? If Rooney wants to stay, then I think we need to keep hold of him. Secondly, he's a goal scorer. Even last season, looking back, people say he had a bad season. He still hit double figures and he still weighed in with a load of assists as well. So he's the sort of player that, when players like Van Persie, who wasn't scoring for a little while last season, are on form, you can rely on Wayne Rooney to get you a goal. Thirdly, do we want to sell him to one of our rivals? I don't think he's the sort of player that would go abroad. I think if he leaves, he'll go to someone like Chelsea, and we could end up with egg on our faces, and seeing Wayne Rooney help Chelsea lift the title would be something of a disaster. Another reason I think he needs to stay is he's one of the strikers that can lead the line well. I think that Welbeck is a great striker, but there's question marks about him sometimes with goal scoring. Hernandez, sometimes you look at him and you think, is he more of a substitute rather than a first-team player? And obviously, Van Persie's superb, but if Van Persie were to get a knock, or if Van Persie is off form, then Rooney's the man that you can rely on. And final reason is that Wayne Rooney, if you look at his record over the years, he's delivered. And people might not like to admit it, but he's delivered goals, he's delivered trophies, and he's the sort of player that the opposition are in awe of.
He does score quite a lot of goals, but I mean, you say about Hernandez being a substitute. Perhaps if Hernandez gets a run of games, gets to start, who knows what sort of potential he could reach, what heights he could get to if he really got that run of games. At the minute, he's just not getting. Also, if he goes, we're going to get a decent amount for him. We can invest in another player who can come on and score goals. Danny Welbeck is a good talent, but just cannot finish. So there are other options if he was to go.
There are. I know what you're saying. There are other options, and I get that. But if you look at some of the figures, and again, this is all sort of paper talk, so we can't be sure. We're talking about maybe 20, 25 million for Wayne Rooney. Now, we're already talking about spending not that far off Leighton Baines. So you don't know who we're going to be able to bring in. People thought a few years ago, if we spent 30-odd million on Dimitar Berbatov, he'd be our top scorer every season. The grass isn't always greener. You could go out and you could buy another player. You could buy a Lewandowski or whoever for a similar amount. But there's no guarantee that he'll come to the Premier League and get you goals. With Wayne Rooney, there is almost a guarantee that if he plays as a striker, he will get you goals.
No, he will get you goals, but only if he can stay fit. I mean, if you look at him, he's forever, he's on the fags, he's on the beer. He can't keep himself in shape, which for a professional athlete earning the money he earns is a bit ridiculous. I mean, when we signed him and we had Ronaldo and they were sort of teenagers, if you look, all that's changed between them is Ronaldo has hit unbelievable heights for the stuff he's done on the training ground after hours, working hard. Rooney just hasn't bothered. He's been happy to go, yeah, I'll get a few goals, I'll go out there, as long as I'm playing, I'll get goals, as long as I'm getting a big wage and my bank is full. He seems happy. Whereas there are other players that are really committed to reaching the heights of their game. And I don't think Rooney's ever reached the potential we thought we were going to get when we signed him.
I can see your point there. I'm not going to defend that sometimes Rooney does look out of sorts. Last season, at the beginning of the season against Everton, after 5 minutes, he was huffing and puffing, and that is, quite frankly, unacceptable. But I think when you compare him to players like Ronaldo, it's a little bit unfair. Ronaldo is a phenomenon. And also, people forget when we bought Wayne Rooney, his goal-scoring record was sort of, 1 in 5. So to say he hasn't fulfilled his potential is a little bit harsh. Also, the builds between Ronaldo and Rooney are different. Rooney was always a stocky lad. Excuse me. He was always a stocky lad, whereas Ronaldo was always very athletic, very slim. So there's a little bit of difference there.
As well, there's the idea of Rooney's been playing in midfield a lot, which he says he doesn't like that position. But I mean, that is another sort of string to his bow, that he's got an incredible range of passing. He's done a lot of assists, he's set up incredible goals. But do you think that's something that we could use him for? I mean, it seems like something that he isn't willing to stay and do.
To be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of Wayne Rooney in midfield. I think the idea of Wayne Rooney in midfield comes more from the fact we need a midfielder than it does Wayne Rooney being able to play there. I think if you look at him when he drops deep sometimes, his touch lets him down. I think, there's question marks, like you said, about his fitness, and putting him in midfield doesn't help that. But I think when he leads the line, when he plays up front, he scored 34 goals once in a season, and I've never heard of a striker scoring 34 goals in a season, and then when he's 27 years old being moved back into midfield. I think for me, Wayne Rooney is a striker, and I think he plays his best football there and does the team serve the team best there, playing up front.
Yeah, fair enough. But so if you don't want him midfield, you want him up front. But we're going to have Van Persie up front. Let's be honest, he's a superior goal scorer. But it looks like Kagawa is that player that suits that role behind. It's what Ferguson was playing more often than not. And it's what a lot of fans seem to think is the right opinion. He's a 2-time German Player of the Year. Would you ship Kagawa out wide, put Kagawa on the bench? How are you getting Rooney in this team?
See, this is the thing I'm struggling with, because this is where I'm going to make myself look a bit silly, where I say maybe Rooney isn't a first teamer. Maybe he is the player that if Robin Van Persie's not performing or not fit, he should come in. And then the argument is, well, do you play someone who's not a first teamer 250 grand a week? Of course you don't. But I still think there's a job that he can do. I still think there's this idea that you can't play two strikers, but I think you can in certain games. And I think, yeah, you're right, Kagawa. I love Shinji Kagawa. I think he's the perfect player to play in the hole. But I still think there's a space for Wayne Rooney there. And maybe it's not always starting the games. Maybe it's starting against some different teams when Robin Van Persie isn't fit. Maybe it's starting with Robin Van Persie together against teams where we can play two strikers. But I definitely think there's a role for a player like Wayne Rooney.
All right, thanks a lot, Justin. Do check out Justin's website, Red Flag Flying High. There's a link below. And leave your comments below. Let us know. Do you want Rooney to stay or do you want him to go? Let's get the debate going right now and let's get an answer, and we'll fax it to Moyes, make the decision a bit easier for him.
I'll start it. You ready? Bit fat. Click subscribe to subscribe. Click the videos to watch the videos.
Click them, don't lick them.
Way!
It's going to catch on, that.
Sweeping the nation.
It's going to catch on.